Okay, so let's get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to RefineM's October Lunch and Learn. Today, we are going to talk about agile metrics. How do you measure those, and how do you measure team improvement? Because agile is all about continuous improvement, self-managing teams. You know all that. So, how do you know that the team is getting better? What are the indicators? What are the things that uh, that that you can see or demonstrate? What are those metrics? What are those measures that are important or and easy too? So I always emphasize about simplicity and easy part of it. So what is easy too? Okay. Um, Okay, so let's. So very simple agenda. We'll have some introductions, expectations, and then we'll get into the core webinar. And at the end of the webinar, we will have a quiz. I started doing this quiz from last couple of webinars and my other trainings, and I have found it to be really very good. People, it's a good engaging activities, and normally we build the quiz around today's webinar mostly, but there could be some questions there that are related. We may not be covering them today, but most of the questions that are there that are based around the webinar. So pay attention to it. I would like you to learn, and that's a motivation kind of a thing. And the winner will get a $10 Amazon gift card. So that's to appreciate your participation and winning. And then we'll have Q&A. So there are still people coming in the waiting room, so Philip will take care of them. Let's move forward. This is a monthly webinar. We do it every Wednesday of the month. It is designed to help you learn while you eat in a relaxed environment. So we cover a variety of topics, as some of you who keep coming back to my webinars would have seen that we keep coming up with different topics and something that is current and relevant to the attendees, and also you get a PDU. Some of you who are for the first time, very quickly, this is a little bit about me, so you know who is your instructor or who is the person who is talking to you. My name is N.K. Shrivastava. I am a CEO consultant, RefineM, the company that I started almost about 9 years ago. So we do project management, consulting and training, do agile transformation. I am personally engaged with IBM for last 4 years, I think maybe more than 4 years. So that has been going really great. That has given me an opportunity to work with some of the really very large teams and transform them to agile. Right now, I'm working with a team that is 600 people team, and they serve a very big a bank in US. I cannot tell the name here because of confidentiality, but there's a 600-700 people team. So how do you transform so big team spread over entire globe? So that has been my experience for last 4 years. I have learned a lot of things from that. And in my journey of project management and agile for 30 plus years, I consolidated my learnings and experience in some of the products that you see. Essential Gear for Project Managers is a toolkit that project managers can use. I have a PMP simulator. We have an agility assessment tool. And I will recommend all of you who are in this agile related webinar or agile related learning, will be to use this tool. This is available for free. So you can go to agility.refineM.com and take a assessment test for your team, or the team that you are a scrum master or product owner, or if you're in coach, if you're coaching the team. Okay, very good. Let's go to the next one. Some of the new things coming up at RefineM, webinars. That's always we do every month. So next one is using Agile to stay resilient during the challenging time. We all know that we are passing through a very difficult, challenging testing time with lot of change that you see might have seen in last several months. So how do you stay resilient? What Agile principles and practices you can use to stay ahead of the game? And then how the project management shaped in 2020. It's a turbulent year for everything. So it has been turbulent year for personally, professionally, every aspect. So how the project management is changing, or has changed, or is going to change for future. So we are going to talk about that in December. And some of the products here that we already talked about. So let's move on. So now let's start with you. Okay, so we talked about introduction. So let's start with you. So what are your expectations from this webinar? So let's go to, I've started a tool called as Mentimeter. So you go to menti.com and enter this code. You can use your cell phone, tablets, laptop, whatever way you can get access to internet. Whatever way you can get access to internet, go to menti.com and it will ask for a code. So you enter this code. Once you enter this code, you will be given, you will see this question and you can start typing. You can start typing, and as everyone types, we can see what everybody's input right here on the screen in the real time. So go ahead and go to your cell phone, lap. Yeah, industry standard matrix idea. So yeah, people have started. Yeah, very good. Learn about matrix. Okay. Industry standards. Yeah, I see some of the people have started doing this. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah, I want to give a little more time for this one because some of you may be trying to find how to get to this. And by the time we reach the quiz, so you will get used to it. So you will not be behind. So there are a couple of these exercises here in the beginning for you to get used to this. And some of you might have used similar tools or maybe the same tool. Learn how to measure team. Okay, yeah, team performance. Yeah, okay, how team is doing. Okay, yeah, very good, very good. Keep going, keep going. I think, yeah, best practices. Seems like most of you want to learn best practices. Very good, yeah. Some more. So 8 of you. So there are 20 people in the webinar so far. So other people, others, please go to menti.com, use whatever device you have and get in there. I will wait at least for 50% to be in this to find out, and then others can keep working on it. So a couple more. I have 10 people who already participated. Some more. If you have any difficulty, you can chat with Philip on the chat and he can help you. But this is pretty straightforward. You know, go to menti.com and enter the code and you will see some of this. And okay, all right. So we have about 50% people who participated. I'm moving on, but others, please join it whenever you get time, because there are a couple of other slides. Then I would like everybody to participate in the quiz that we are going to have at the end. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So the about matrix, what we are going to do is we'll spend maybe not more than 5 minutes or maybe 3 minutes on overview of agile concept to bring everybody on the same page. Then we'll start talking about agile team matrix, particularly covering business operational and culture environment. And then what are the tools that you can use to collect these matrices, on an ongoing basis, and plot some charts and bars to show the progress made. So we'll discuss those. So overview of the agile concept. We'll talk about manifesto, 12 principles, and agile mindset. Most of you would have seen the agile manifesto. I'm not going to spend too much time, but just want to emphasize that the things on the left are more valuable than the things on right. Agile is all about value delivery. So things on the left are more valuable than the things on the right. It's not that things on the right are not important, but the things on the left are more valuable. And just to list here the 12 agile principles, okay? Starting from satisfying the customer to team reflecting on to become more effective at regular intervals, retrospectives. That's what we call it. Reviews are with the customer, retrospectives is with the team. So last one basically refers to retrospective, and then in between you have all those different types of different agile principles. There are 12 of those. And one thing about the principles, but one thing about manifesto principles and practices, they are independent of the method that you follow. Some of the practices may align to some of the methods more, but practice principles are totally independent. Agile mindset. So what kind of mindset or what kind of thought every person in the team, team member to the leads, to architects, managers, directors, VPs, and all that, what kind of mindset? So these are the 5 or 6 aspects of the mindset. Value focus. Everybody need to focus on what value we are delivering to the client and how we deliver this value faster. Okay. So what value we're delivering and how we can do it faster. Okay. Fixed cost and time scope can be flexible. Deliver highest value within the fixed cost and time, right? Concept of time boxing, you know about that, right? Deliver working software at the end of each iteration. You're not going to do requirements in this iteration, do design in the next one, do development in the next one, and testing on the next one. That's not agile. Okay. So you deliver software at the end of each iteration, and self-managing team don't need managers. So that's another kind of mindset that you should not have. Delivering faster with self-managing does not mean chaos or poor quality product. It's still, the quality is very, very important. Very, very important. Okay. So let's go to Menti one more time. What agile matrices, if any, do you use? So let me take you back to Menti, and let's have your input. What agile metrics, if any, do you use to measure team improvement? Some of you have been using agile, and even if you don't use agile, just talk about some of the metrics that you use. So what are those measures or metrics that you use to velocity, points completed, points not completed? Okay, very good, very good. What else? So I got a couple of people here. Velocity. Okay, very good. None. Somebody saying I don't do anything. Okay, so that will be useful for you who said none. Cycle time, very good. Yeah. Velocity, lead time. Very good. Very good. Very good. Bugs in production. Okay. Okay. Bugs in production. Very good. Few more people. If they come up, what kind of matrix do you use? What kind of matrix do you use? So far, whatever matrix you put, there's one here, customer satisfaction. Yeah, very good. Points completed, points not completed, highest business value. Very good. Very good. Excellent. Okay, some more. Okay, very good. Just maybe 10 more seconds if somebody wants to pitch in. So velocity seems to be the most common. You can see in the middle, velocity seems to be the most common metric that most of you use, which is fine. It's all right. All right, let's move on. So I want to put the metrics in three categories. Okay, the metrics that will measure business, how the team has impacted the business. Okay, how team has impacted the business. The second is operational, about the process. The metrics that measure the operational efficiency or the process that team is following. And the third is culture. That's difficult to measure. But what are the key aspects of agile culture that team is following? And how do you measure that? That seems to be like many teams may or may not be doing, or if they are doing, they may not know that relates to culture. Okay, so business metrics that talk about how teams are impacting business, how teams are impacting operational or process, and how teams are impacting the culture. So those are the three aspects. We'll talk about each aspect and the metrics related to those aspects and how they look like. Okay, how they look like. So we'll have conversation about each one of these. So first, I will put business metrics, the metrics that are related to the business, and I have kept to no more than 2 or 3 in each area. And I will tell you the reason at the end. I don't want to have you a big list of things, and you take that list and you don't know where to start. Right? So I would really like you to get benefited from this webinar. Of course, you will get a PDU or SCU, whatever you are looking for education credits. But you need. My goal is that you should also get some real benefit from this, something that you can go and start using in your teams. Okay, so those are the two here: value delivered per release or per month. If you are having releases, then per release. And if you don't have releases, then per month. Okay, what is the value delivered? Customer satisfaction. How satisfied is your customer? What value you are delivering to the customer and how the customer is satisfied. So let's talk about the value delivery. And this is not, if not most, one of the very difficult things to do. And most of the teams don't do it because it's not easy to do. But I can tell you it may not be perfect, but from the agile mindset or agile spirit, just get started. Okay, you don't have to do a lot of planning. You have a little bit of planning, but get started. So how you can do is you need to convert or estimate. Estimate may be a better word than even convert. So estimate the value for each feature or maybe each story, if you can. Okay, so estimate each feature. What is its value? And value can be in different terms. The best kind of value is if you can measure that in dollars. So this story is worth $200. for the customer. This story is worth $500. So I'm not talking of story points. Okay. I'm talking of something different. Story points are the size of the story, and that may tell how much time will it take to implement it. Right. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what value customer is getting from this. Is it increasing their revenue? Is it reducing their effort, reducing their cost? What is going on if you implemented this feature or story? Okay, so if you cannot go to story level, start with a feature. That's a little higher level, right? You start with the whole product, what you're developing, or whatever you are doing. So, but some kind of value associated. And if you cannot estimate the value accurately, maybe I have seen some of the teams do take a scale and say, okay, on a 1 to 1,000 scale, don't take it 1 to 10. Okay, what is the value of this story? And that could be like what benefits it's going to provide. If you cannot translate that benefit into dollars, okay, if you can translate into dollar, nothing like that. But if you cannot, then find other way. But the value of each story. So, like in your tool or table, wherever you have story point estimates, you can also have the value associated with that. Okay, and once those stories and features are delivered, you start measuring for each month or each release. You normally measure how many story points were delivered, which is great. But what value was delivered? And if you can start, increasing the value delivery per month or per sprint, or that is valuable, or per release. So in the last release, you delivered, irrespective of how many stories and how many features, that it was 9,000, number, or maybe it was $170,000. Now in the next release, your attempt should be to go more than that, right? So instead of 170,000, try if you can reach to 200. Now what that will do? That will do is it will start pushing team and product owner to select the stories that are higher in value, right? The lower value stories will get pushed down, which is okay, right? Because if the lower value, it is a lower value, it should have lower priority, right? So so that's one thing. And start plotting something like this, the chart that you see here. So you plot per release or per month, and then cumulative. So the both are important. So per month is important because you want to see it improve, right? And total is also important because you can say last 6 months team delivered functionality worth $730,000. And how did you arrive at that? Oh, here is how we arrive at this. Will be very powerful. Will be very, very powerful. And that's why I'm spending quite a bit of time on this. It is very powerful. Okay. So this is the first business matrix that I recommend. Value delivery, value delivered per month or per release. Okay. So, so there is a question here, Matt, my friend. Thank you for joining, Matt. If you are in a government, stating value is difficult. I agree with you. And that is why I said that instead of dollar value, you can have a scale 1 to 1,000 and put your story value to somewhere like, oh, this 20 value is 20, or whatever unit you want to use. Okay. So, but some way to communicate the value and size in a different manner. Size is how much effort it will take to deliver. It's complex, it's risky, and all those kind of things. But how did it benefit? how does it benefit to the client? So that benefit need to be somewhat quantified. I know if you do not have a dollar value, then who estimates the value? PO, yes. So that is PO's responsibility to make sure. You're absolutely right, Arju. You're absolutely right. PO, product owner, is the person who is responsible for this matrix, not the team. Because PO knows about the functionality, PO knows about the value of this, importance of this, or whatever, right? Okay, all right, good questions, thank you. The another one, the business related metrics, is customer satisfaction. How happy is the customer? Of course, when you do your value delivery and you're delivering more and more value, customer is expected to be happy, right? But how do you really measure it? Okay. You measure by net promoter score. Many of you may know net promoter score. It comes from customer relationship management. All CRM books will talk about net promoter score. And it's a very simple way of doing it, that you send a one question survey to your customers. So it may be internal customer, external customer, whosoever is going to use your product, right? Or are involved in your project to develop that project. So it could be that whosoever you feel is your customer. So for any work that you're doing, any project that you're doing, any product development, there is somebody who is a customer, and there may be multiple people who are your customers. So you have to ask your customer one single question. And the original question that comes from CRM is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how strongly you are going to recommend us to others, where 1 is do not recommend at all, and 10 is recommend, very strongly recommend. So all the customer will give you a score, which will range from 1 to 10. So the customers that give you 10 or 9, they are called as promoters. Customers that give you 6 or less, they are called as detractors. And 8 to 7 are neutral or passives. And then how do you calculate NPS? A number of promoters minus number of detractors. And when you start, it may be a negative number. So don't get carried away that you got a negative NPS. Figure out how you're going to change it. If it was negative, I'm just picking up a number. If it was negative 10, how I can make it negative 5? How I make it 0? How I become positive after that? So you need to be talking to your customer. Why they did not strongly recommend you? What was lacking? It means that, so that is how you can have your customer speak about it, right? So the two business metrics I talked about, NPS and the value, okay? So I will come back to some of the questions I'm seeing here on the chat box, but should it be by persona? Yeah, you can do it by persona, or you can do it by a specific person. That's absolutely all right. And I'll come back to Bala, your question. It's very long. I cannot read it, why I'm doing it. Philip will read it and we'll come back to it. Okay. Now the second type of matrix, operational matrix, or related to the process. Okay. Productivity. Is the team is getting more productive? Velocity. A lot of you in the in Menti mentioned about velocity, and that tells me that many teams measure velocity, which I have seen. I've seen from my experience of training, coaching, that many teams use velocity as one of the measures to say that productivity, or some of the teams that do not use Scrum, they use Kanban. They talk about throughput. So how many items? So we'll talk about that. And then lead time, or the response time. and the third is quality. So three metrics I'm talking about here, right? Productivity, response time or the lead time, and quality, the three operational metrics. So talking about productivity, velocity, most of you know velocity. Story points completed in a sprint. That's the velocity. All the Scrum teams do it all the times. So you have your story points and you see how many story points were completed, and then that's it. And sometimes I have also seen people saying that the stories that are partially complete, okay, that's the funny part that I have seen. So stories that were not fully complete, they'll say, oh, we are, 75% complete. And I think those are the people who have project management background, and they have not changed their mindset yet. We are 75% complete. So if the story point was 8 story points, we can credit 6 story points. And then 2 story points we'll credit in the next sprint when the story will be completed. That's wrong. In agile world, you see the principle is you deliver functioning software at the end of each sprint. If your story is not complete, it's not delivered. So how it can be counted in sprints? So percentage complete is not something that is accounted for in this calculation. Now, what you can do about it, you actually start keeping your stories small so that they get completed. Work on grooming your stories beforehand. Many times the teams do not groom stories, and they really don't know when they are getting into sprint, they don't know much about the story. And then all discussion, all requirements, all elaboration, all grooming happens during the sprint. And that not only eats up time, but also it you don't know when you get into it how many story points actually it is. And many times you may find it bigger. And you may not know how to break it because you have not done the grooming part. So very important part here, the grooming part here, and keeping the stories small. So when the team is doing the sprint planning, they have absolute clear idea of what they are getting into. Okay, so so that's the grooming part is very important to have a better measurement and not doing the percentage complete part. The second is throughput. So if you are not doing product development, if you are doing operational work, like support work, you are attending to requests coming from the field, you are doing support work, or you are doing operational work. Maybe you are working in sales department. Okay, so how many sales you are closing, right? So if you are not doing product development, but using agile in a non-software development environment using Kanban board or Kanban system, in that case, it is throughput. So how many requests were completed per week, per month? Okay, so those can start anytime, but you measure how many are got completed. And your objective is to increase that throughput. How many you complete every week? And of course, then the question comes, they may not be of same size, right? So as a product owner, as a team, your effort should be to make them comparable sizes. If you cannot make them comparable sizes, maybe you have 3 different sizes, and then you put them in 3 different swim lanes on your Kanban board. There are 3 different classes of service. That's also called as classes of service. If you get into the Kanban system, you will learn all this terminology. So you put them in different class of service and different swim lanes. So you can say for this swim lane, this is throughput. For this swim lane, this is throughput. For this swim lane, this is throughput. If you cannot have all of them in a comparable size, maybe divide them into 2, 3, 4 different categories and measure each category. So you're measuring apples with apples, not apples and oranges. So the intent is that your velocity should increase. And one of the downside of that percentage, counting that percentage in the velocity, that basically it basically tells you, it gives you a wrong picture. The thing is not complete, but you're claiming it to be complete. Okay. In case of throughput, it's all completed requests, so it's not a percentage anyway. So teams that are using Kanban or using operational work, they are basically not doing percentage complete. Okay, so that's productivity. Customer lead time. Okay, so how much time did it take to meet or deliver to customer a request or a story end to end, start to finish? And it is number of days. You can have calendar days or you can have work days. That's your choice, right? So or if it is takes less than a day or two, then you can have hours. How many hours is your lead time? So it starts from the time the customer sent you the request, or you got a request from the customer, or if you are doing development work, when the story came in the backlog. Okay, so when that came into their backlog, and how much time from that time onward it took to deliver it to the customer. So that's a total end-to-end, start to finish time. Now, what does it do? It basically tells customer how responsive you are. Okay, so what is your response time? So if I submit a request today, then do you take 2 days to respond? Do you take 5 days to respond? Do you take 10 days to respond? So how much time you take to respond? So that's very important from the process perspective, because you have to have your internal process in place and very efficient to improve your response time or have a better response time. Okay, so that's the customer lead time. And then of course the quality. I call it repair to build ratio, and number of defects. Number of defects alone will not measure. Repair to build ratio is something they said, okay, I spent 30 hours fixing things and 100 hours building things, right? So it will be 30 divided by 100. Okay, so that's your repair to build ratio. And that repair to build, the objective is that it should be lower and lower. 0 is ideal. Okay, so you don't spend any time in fixing things. Okay. And of course, number of defects. So those are the two quality measures. Let's talk about culture metrics, that what we are talking about. So there are 3 aspects here. So first aspect is the team learning. Is the team getting better? Is there is a learning culture in the team? A constant learning or continuous learning culture. And that's demonstrated by number of improvements that the team has implemented. And we'll talk about that. And is the team empowered? They are fully empowered, or they are escalating everything up. Whenever an issue comes, they escalate. If they escalate upward, then they are not becoming empowered. They maybe because of either the leadership has not given them empowerment, or the team themselves is not taking the ownership, or they are not capable. They don't have capability and skill to be empowered, right? So whatever that is. And the culture is that the empowerment, the team empowerment is one of the big aspects of Agile, right? And the team is motivated. How do you know the team is motivated? So we'll talk about these 3. Demonstrated learning. So that's the first thing. And the team should demonstrate the learning. So it means making retrospectives actionable. So whenever you finish a retrospective, there should be a few action items or improvements that were identified. And how many of those you come in each retro? You come up with 10 improvements, 5 improvements. You may not do all of them, but how many you can think of? Because if the team cannot think of improvements, then this is not a continuous learning environment. The team should be encouraged. The Scrum Master and the Agile coaches should enable the team to come up with improvement, come up with great ideas, how we can get better, how we can do better than the last sprint or last month. And then that has to be demonstrated. So the outcomes demonstrated by those action items. So number of action items or improvements and the outcomes demonstrated from those. So we implemented this improvement that helped us to improve customer satisfaction. That helped us, our customer, to increase revenue. That helped us, or whatever. That should be demonstratable, or it helped us to decrease the cycle time or the lead time, right? It helped us to improve quality, whatever that was. So how many improvements or action items you come, and how do you demonstrate outcomes? So not only the action item will come, because some of them you will implement, if not all. So there is a richness of ideas, right? That's number one, one parameter, and then demonstrate that improvement. Okay, that's another one. So that's the first one, demonstrated learning. The second one is the blocker escalation. So team is self-managing, right? And self-managing teams should be able to resolve all blockers by themselves. All issues, all risks, every blocker they face, they should have a skill and should be empowered by leadership to make decisions and implement those decisions, right? Just to be confined within the team. If the team is able to resolve most of them, and they resolve more and more as they go forward, that will say that team is becoming more and more agile. They are becoming more and more self-managed, empowered team. So how you can measure it? You can see number of blockers escalated. How many blockers or issues were escalated outside the team? And you can measure that every sprint. You can say, okay, how many blockers we faced, how many blockers were escalated. So that's a measure to see team's empowerment. And the last one is team motivation. And many of you would have heard about mood marbles, right? So in the pre-corona days, when the teams used to be together, you can have this board, a whiteboard, and people can come and stick, or you can have a jar where you have these marbles put on the side of the jar, and red, green, yellow marbles, and people can come and pick a marble and put it in the jar based on their mood of the day. Okay, but now we are all remote, right? So we may not be able to use the marble thing, but we can have a spreadsheet on somewhere common place, SharePoint or a Box folder or a Google Doc or whatever method you use. Okay, somewhere on the cloud, and then you have this stickies you created. You have you can easily get these the mood kind of things, and you can come and stick it. How is your mood, and then it is visible to everybody. So if any time, like in this one here, it seems like Anne is not very happy today. Okay, Anne is not happy. So somebody looks at it, maybe other team member can help Anne. Anne, what's going on? Oh, I am hitting all blockers today. Oh, can I help you? So that's the team motivation. You can see the team motivation, and when Anne sees this a help coming, then in that case, that will motivate both actually. Okay, all right. Moving along. So that's the team motivation. So what are the tools that you can use? Of course, you can use Excel. I have not put it here. Okay, you can use Excel. You can collect your data in Excel, and you can use Excel. That's the most easy thing to do. Most of you have MS Office. Otherwise, there are tools that produce some of these metrics. They may not produce all of this, but like Jira is a very common tool which many of the teams use. And it has some of the metrics that we were talking about. Swift Kanban is a very good Kanban tool. Similarly, Kanbanalyze is a very good Kanban tool. And both of these generate metrics as you move the carts. So as you move the carts, they generate a lot of operational metrics. And you can use for other metrics. You can use spreadsheets to do the metrics. Uh, so, okay, now let's say best practices for team metrics. What you can do is identify not many, maybe 3 to 5 key metrics. I told you maybe about 7 or 8 today. So 3 to 5, maybe start with 3. One business, one operational, and one team. Okay. Collect and review them regularly and see what those metrics, what story the metrics tell. Okay. So collect them regularly, and as you get mature on those metrics, add more. So maybe start with 3, go to 4, 5, and things like that, and keep increasing. So as you increase more metrics, as a team starts collecting and acting based on those metrics, the agility of the team will improve, and you can demonstrate them through the metrics. That's the beauty of it. So you don't have to say, oh, the team is getting better. Oh, how do you demonstrate it? The team is getting better. That's a very important part, like how the team is getting better, how the team is becoming more and more agile. So that's the demonstration with the data. And I can tell you from my own experience that if you support your statement with data, that carries much more meaning. Okay, so time for quiz. Okay, get ready. It should not take more than 6-7 minutes to do the quiz, and we'll come back and do the short Q&A after that. So you should see. Okay, yeah, I see people joining. 9 people already joined. So remember, there are 7 questions in this quiz, and you will be given points based on your answers and also how fast you answer. Okay, so your answers have to be right, and I'll give maybe 20 more seconds for other people to join. So this is your chance to test your knowledge, what you gained today and your previous knowledge, and also get an opportunity to win a $10 Amazon gift card. Okay, that's a token of appreciation from Refine-M. Okay, so I have 13 people here in the quiz. Maybe others are not interested. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, we have 14 now. Very good. Very good. And anybody can join at any time. Okay, you just have to go to menti.com and hit this, enter this code. Okay, so we are going to start the quiz. Okay, answer fast to get more points. So you have to answer. So which of the following is on the left-hand side of Agile Manifesto? So there are 4 options there. You have to pick the right one. And saying on the left side of manifesto. Okay. Okay, so all others are on the right-hand side. This one is on the left-hand side of the manifesto. Okay, let's see how the scores look like. Okay, so John did that fastest. Let's go to the next one. So we just covered that in the webinar. If you were attentive, you'll be able to answer that correctly. Okay. Okay, those 3 are right. So let's see how the scores. Is there any change? There could be. Let's see who is leading. John is still leading. Okay, let's go to the next one. Yeah, we covered that in the webinar today, and also you might know from your previous experience. Yeah, that they are called a detractor. 6 or less is called as detractors. Promoters are 9 and 10 and passive are 6 and 7. And wrong was actually wrong. So that was to just distract you. Okay, so there may be some upsetting here happening. Yeah, Negi has gone up. Okay, good. Good going, guys. Now this is number 4 question. Yeah, that you may know. A lot of you may know this. I expect to see everybody saying it right. You know that. Yep. So throughput is number of requests completed, not number of story points completed. So that was a tricky one there. Okay, let's see if there is some upsetting here happening. No, not much. Negi is still leading. Yeah, we talked about this, the culture matrix. Yep, that's right. Blockers. Most of you got it right. Negi is still leading. Okay, there are 2 more questions left, I believe. This is the 6th one. And we covered that in the webinar today. Okay, very good. So this is the last question. Can anybody beat Negi? Came up. We talked about this too. Okay, everybody got it right. Very good. Very good. So let's see who was the fastest one. Okay, Negi, you are the winner. So take a screenshot of that and email to trainings@refinem.com and we'll send you the Amazon gift card. Congratulations and thanks everybody for participating. Let's go back to PowerPoint very quickly. So in conclusion, effective agile metrics start with classifying them into business, operational, and cultural. Do not ignore any area. At least have start with one in each, and make sure you collect them and use them. Questions, we'll just go through the question. Let me say about the next Lunch and Learn. That is using Agile for Stay Resilient. This is a webinar that I'm delivering through projectmanagement.com. So if you are a PMI member, you get in there free. If you're not, then you don't get in. But if you register on our website, we'll be able to send you the slide deck after the webinar, and you can review the slide deck. Now, next training course, which is guaranteed to run, is Agile for Waterfall and Operational Work. We are doing on November 6th, how can you utilize Agile in a waterfall and operational environment. It's a half day over the web class. And if you register before October 29th, you get about $50 discount. PMI members get 10% additional discount. There are group discounts, 20-25% group discounts if you are more than 4 registered together. So join me on 6th November for this half-day class. And this is how you are going to earn one PDU for this webinar. The slide deck will come to you and you have these instructions. Claim your PDU as soon as possible, because we are going to remove this after 2 weeks or so. So this will be on PMI website for about 2 weeks. Okay, so let's do the questions. Let me go to the chat box and see if there is something that I have not answered. What percentage of teams do you believe use Jira today? I really don't know. I really don't know what percentage of teams use Jira, but I know quite a bit of them use Jira. Thanks for letting us know, Jeff. Okay, that's some conversation going on. Okay, let me see. Is there anything else that I have not answered? Okay, for a couple of minutes, Philip, if you can open microphones, if some of you want to talk about and ask a question, you are more than welcome. I'm here for another 2 minutes, so you are more than welcome to ask question if you have any questions.
All right, everyone should be able to speak now.
Okay, so now if you want to speak, you have to actually unmute yourself. So from our side, we have unmuted everybody. Anyone has any questions?
NK?
Yes, Matt?
So this is Matt.
I know your voice.
A quick question.
Yes.
We started doing, we have a very broad portfolio in defense business systems. And what we've done is we started doing maturity assessments and everything else, but do you run into problems where you give measures to the folks that aren't management, that's not totally agile minded? You end up with bad behavior?
Yeah, I have seen that happen. I have seen that happen, like, like percentage complete kind of thing. So yeah, I have seen like schedule related, are you running late? So yeah, I have seen some metrics or some measures given that may not make much sense for the agile team. And one of the reasons for that is that the leadership there is not very agile. The leadership is, the leadership is still in old mindset. So they want to see that.
And it drives the wrong behavior, because
yes.
I just got off the phone with one of my teams and they reported a number of defects that went out, and they just changed contractors. And the first thing, we got 2 other emails within the last 20 minutes saying, we have to go out and get training for those folks immediately.
Yeah.
And the team just missed their commitment this time in the middle of contract changing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think that's yes, that's not the right behavior. But you are also tied up in organizations where the leadership is not fully knowledgeable or fully appreciate the agile team practices and principles, and these kind of things happen. So yeah, I think, Matt, what you're talking about is not unusual. That happens. Yep. Yeah.
Have you seen, one more, just, and
Yes.
I'll be quiet. One more
Sure.
is, you have your assessment tool that goes out there and you can assess the team. We have folks that are using those assessments and not focusing, because again, we have a large contracted workforce. The assessment, going from crawl, walk to fly, run and fly and everything else, becomes the objective rather than delivering value to the customer quicker.
Yeah, so I think agile maturity is, I will say, is one of the measures that the team is getting better, but if some team is getting better, that should demonstrate the value to the customer and the response time to the customer. So if that is not improving, then the team is not reporting the in the tool right manner. And usually I'll say all assessments should not be used by the team, should be used by product owner or scrum master, and they should actually see a proof, or they should be able to demonstrate that the team is practicing this. For example, how good the team is on retrospective, for example. So that will be one of the assessment questions, that how good the team is on retrospectives. So yeah, we do retrospective every end of the sprint we do. Yeah, that's fine. But what happens at the outcome of that retrospective? Do you have action items? Do you implement those action items? Can you tell me how many action items you have implemented and what has been the outcome? So as a scrum master or a coach, I will ask those questions to validate what the team said on a scale of 1 to 5, where we are on retrospective. So if team is doing all of that, then they are 5. If the team is saying we are just doing retrospectives, maybe they are at 2.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. So that's a kind of a, okay, good. Anybody, we have run over by a few minutes, but if anybody else has any questions? Okay, thank you very much, and I will see you next month.